Good Saturday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and it is once again time for what every cruiser wants. And we are back, and we have some new cruise comments for you this week. But not only do we have cruise comments, we are going to throw a little twist here in at the end, and we're actually going to talk about some cruise complaints. Complaints from people who don't understand the word cruise insurance, who don't understand the words non-refundable. Complaints from people that sometimes don't understand that, well, stuff can happen on a cruise. But let's get into today's comments and let's ask the question. Are these people right? Are these people wrong? Do they not pay attention to anything that goes on in the cruising world? Because boy, sometimes they ask the same questions over and over again. I don't know, maybe they just think the answers will change. Now, for our first comment today, look, honestly, it is just silly. Somebody took the time in the middle of their cruise vacation to write in this type of comment. Honestly, you're on a ship, you're on vacation, you're enjoying yourself. Hopefully, you got sunshine in the sky, ocean sounds, ocean breeze, heading off to some exotic place just to enjoy yourself and relax. And this is what you spent your time thinking about. Carnival still provides pencils in the cabin? Really? LOL. Carnival pencils are unusable. Every other cruise line in the world gives pens, nice pens to take home. What are we supposed to do with a pencil? I hate pencils, and so do most adults. My guess is a passenger is less likely to take one as a souvenir. We want pens. So, yes, somebody took time from their precious vacation to write in a comment wanting to know why there was only a pencil in their cruise cabin. Because, according to them, every other cruise line in the world provides souvenir pins in the cabin for people to take home. What does every other cruise line provide a pin? Is there a souvenir pin in every single ship other than Carnival, just waiting to be taken home by you? Now, I have been on some cruises where there are pins, but I've also been on plenty other than Carnival that don't have pins. So I don't think it's every other cruise line in the world, but they hate pencils, and so do most other adults out there. So let's ask the question. Do most adults hate pencils? Does every other cruise line out there provide a pen for passengers to take home? And, and if you know you really need a pen, just a little bitty pen like this, could you not just put it in your carry-on bag if you know that's something you have to have? Now, for our second comment today, look, I don't understand why this continues to come up. Why does this type of question continue to get asked? I don't know how many times we have to say it. Look, the TV on cruise ships is not like your TV at home. If you have a favorite show, a favorite event, an election, something you want to see on TV, you have three options. One, you can record it while enjoying your vacation and watch it later. Two, you can get the internet package and you can stream it to a device on board the cruise ship. Or three, you cannot cruise during that event. Quick, easy, simple. Those are the choices. Yet people will still write in and say, why is this sporting event not on the TVs? Why is this show not on the TVs? Why is this news coverage not on the TVs? And there's video after video out there, including ours, that say what you're going to see on a cruise ship TV is not what you're going to see at home. Don't expect what you want to watch to be there every single time. Yet here we are again. We have a comment again. And of course, they want to see it on the ship. They want to know why it's not seen on the ship. And of course, every American out there wants to see it and they demand it. The season finale of Yellowstone will air on Sunday, November the 10th of 2024. I will be on the Jubilee. I am platinum Almost Diamond. I think it is stupid that Carnival does not cater to having this shown for the passengers. So now we have to pay for the internet. I have never paid for the premium internet on a cruise. Never had to. Usually by social plan for iMessage, family, and work. What is the guarantee that the premium plan will enable me and hundreds of others, probably, to watch this landmark show and America's show? So, the season finale of Yellowstone, and it's not going to be aired on Carnival cruise ships. Surprise, surprise. Because, like we've always said, cruise ship TV is not the same as your TV at home. But according to them, this is stupid. And of course, I am platinum, almost diamond, and you are not catering to me by showing this show. And because you're not doing that, I have to purchase internet. I've never had to purchase internet before, but now I've got to buy internet if I want to watch a show while I am on a cruise. But you're platinum, almost diamond, and somehow this is a shock? Somehow this is a surprise? You haven't learned in all of your cruises that this isn't shown on a ship? Now, I'm not saying it's not a popular show. I'm not saying hundreds of people aren't going to watch it. But I will ask the question, are hundreds of people on board cruise ships getting the internet just to watch this? Is it really America's show? And is the cruise line stupid for not catering to their cruise passengers? Now we are going to switch gears. We're going to go from cruise comments. We're going to hop on over to cruise complaints. Now, these complaints, though, however, they're not just about one cruise line. They're not just comments from Carnival Cruise Lines. No. We have complaints from across the cruising spectrum. We got Royal Caribbean, we got Norwegian, we got MSC, we got Disney Cruise Lines. Because while Carnival, yep, they advertise their comments, they put them on Facebook, they have a brand ambassador, while the majority of the other cruise lines don't. Believe me when I say the other cruise lines, they still get a lot of complaints at least. However, are they legitimate complaints? Are they complaints because the cruise line did something wrong? Or are they complaints because the passenger, didn't read, didn't understand, didn't clarify exactly what the policies and procedures are when it comes to, refunds, things happening on board cruise ships, showing up to the cruise port with the wrong documentation. Yet when you read the complaints, you will see that no matter what circumstances they are, it seems to always be the cruise lines who are unfair, who have no compassion, and who are not giving me some money. So we are going to rapid fire some complaints. We're going to ask ourselves, are they right? Are they wrong? Was the passenger wrong? Was the cruise line wrong? And let's get started with this one. I bought 2 tickets for a Royal Caribbean cruise leaving from blank. And when on my way to the airport in blank, we got into a traffic jam accident that let us for almost 2 hours in traffic, which led us to miss our flight and unable to make it to the cruise terminal as there were no flights available. I called the cruise ship and they didn't give me a credit for a next cruise nor any money as reimbursement. So they booked their own airfare. They flew in the day of the cruise. Something happened. They didn't make the cruise ship. They didn't have travel insurance. And when they called the cruise line would not give them any money. No credit for a future cruise. No reimbursement for something the cruise line had zero control over. It is not recommended you fly in the day of the cruise. Why? Because something can clearly happen, and it's definitely not recommended that you ever take a cruise without travel insurance. So should the cruise line give you a future cruise credit or reimburse you for something like this? I'm going to have to say no. But it doesn't stop there, because what happens if you book a non-refundable cruise cabin on board a cruise and then you cancel the cruise and then you act shocked that you don't get your deposit back? I'm not sure what part of non-refundable confuses some people. I booked a cruise that is scheduled for May of 2025. I paid $500 down payment. I have been forced to cancel this cruise. Royal Caribbean says they are keeping my down payment as a penalty, even though they are out nothing. What should I have to give them $500 for absolutely nothing? Simple. This is a consequence. You booked a non-refundable cabin, which have a tendency to be cheaper than those that have a refund available. But you booked the cheapest option. You booked non-refundable. You canceled your cruise. You got no refund. Why are you now surprised? But it's not just Royal Caribbean that has these kinds of complaints. No, no. Look, here's one from Norwegian that's almost identical to what Royal Caribbean gets. Thank you for taking the time to review my claim. I purchased a cruise for 2 people via Norwegian Cruise Line. My flight from blank to blank was canceled due to bad weather. After a 6-hour delay and spending 2 hours on the plane, there were no flights to get me to blank in time for my cruise. I called the cruise line and requested a refund, or at least credit for future travel. The lady was not interested in helping me whatsoever. Instead, I got a $246 refund. I've never experienced this bad of customer service in my life. So again, you booked a cruise. You booked your own airfare. Bad weather, which is not in the control of the cruise line, prevented you from getting to the cruise port, getting on the ship. There were no other flights. Again, no travel insurance. And then you call the cruise line and say, look, I didn't make it. I know it's not your fault, but where is my future cruise credit? Where is my refund? And when you don't get it, you say, well, obviously they're just not interested in helping me. And this is the worst customer service I've ever gotten. And have you ever noticed that anytime they don't get their way, specifically when they don't get their way, they were always rude, the worst customer service ever. They had no interest in helping me. That seems to be the common thread for those that don't get their way, for those that didn't read the cruise contract, didn't understand how things work, didn't purchase the travel insurance, and when it comes to bite them in the backside later on, then it's the cruise line's fault. Why is that? Now, how about an example of somebody who clearly is not real sure of what they booked, what comes with it, and what fees may come with it as well, specifically gratuities. I'm disputing a $112 service fee that was added to my cruise card that I did not know about. I was not given any information about this charge prior, and I would like a refund. So this was about cruise gratuities. That's what the charge was. And yeah, when you book the cruise, they do talk about gratuities. You have the option to pre-add the gratuities, to prepay them. Gratuities aren't new. The fact that cruise lines charge them isn't new. And while you can have them removed, you can't do it after the cruise. Now, when it comes to travel documentation, there's no gray area here. This goes through customs. Customs is the one who makes the rules. If you want to get on this ship, you have to have this, this, or this. That's it. And on cruise line websites, it says what documentation you need. If your specific cruise has a documentation requirement, usually you'll get an email, some kind of confirmation that says, hey, you're going on this kind of cruise, you're going to need this kind of documentation. So if you don't look, you don't check, or you do something silly of like trying to bring a photocopy of something you clearly can't photocopy, is it the cruise line's fault? Booked a cruise where we were not allowed to board as they didn't accept my wife's document. She presented an enhanced driver's license, a copy of her birth certificate, and a copy of her passport, and was still denied boarding. I'm looking for a full refund immediately. Now, this cruise required a passport, and what point in time has anybody believed, thought, suggested that you just need to make a photocopy of your passport and present that to Customs and Immigration and that's acceptable? I understand sometimes copies of birth certificates, they'll let that through, things like that, but a copy of your passport. And they're shocked that they were denied boarding over a copy of their passport. And now they want a refund. Let's be clear. Cruise lines do not provide refunds if you show up to the cruise terminal with the wrong documentation. If you need a passport and you don't have a passport, you're not getting on the ship. They're not giving you a refund. And if you have travel insurance and the reason you missed the cruise is because you didn't have the proper documentation to get on board, don't be shocked if the insurance company also denies your claim. Documentation is your responsibility. And when it comes to travel documentation, is anybody confused that it has to actually be on your person? It has to be in your pocket, in your purse, in your carry on bag. It cannot be in the luggage that you gave to the porters to go on board the ship. You can't go up and check in and go, well, I have a passport, or I have a birth certificate, I have a license, but I put it in my check bag, so it's already on the ship. So I should be good to go. It's there already, right? But believe it or not, people still do make that mistake. And when they make that mistake, again, they seem to blame it on the cruise lines. And when the cruise line can't fix it for them, of course, the cruise line is rude. Because anytime you don't get your way, they're always rude. Cruise balcony suite booked on MSC Seashore. Cruise booking number blank, December 2023 for my family. We were denied boarding because our travel documents were in my daughter's luggage, which was not able to be located before the ship left port. The port staff was extremely rude. They cursed at passengers and had absolutely no empathy for anyone's situation. Immediately upon returning home, we filed a claim for lost luggage, which was finally located and returned 1 month later. We were required to purchase new airline tickets home. I filed a claim with blank and the claim was denied. This was to have been our third cruise with MSC and our second in 2023. I have made numerous attempts to reach some sort of agreeable resolution, yet I am essentially told, too bad. The travel insurance is basically a joke. The only refund I received from MSC was for $375, for which I am grateful. But I worked extremely hard to pay for this vacation and would like to have my good opinion of MSC restored. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. They put their travel documentation in their check bag and it got sent to the ship. The ship looked for it. They couldn't find it in time. The ship has to depart. So, of course, they're denied boarding. They don't have documentation to get on the ship because you're not supposed to put it in your check bag. You put it in your carry-on bag, your purse. You have it on your persons. And I understand mistakes happen, slips happen, could have possibly happened to anyone. I personally triple check 3 and 4 times. Do I have all my travel documentation? Because I know what happens if I don't. But they were denied, so the port staff was rude. They were just cussing at passengers, and they have absolutely no empathy for somebody's situation. Look, this stuff is the law. This is customs. There is no gray area. They can't really have a whole lot of empathy. Either you have it or you don't. And if you don't, you can't board. No gray area. And just like I said, yeah, they filed a claim with the insurance, but that claim was denied, so the insurance is a joke. And of course the claim is denied. It's denied because you didn't have travel documentation. That's not a covered reason. But they want an agreeable resolution from MSC. What exactly is an agreeable resolution? Next time, show up at the cruise with the proper documentation in your hand, and then you can get on board the ship. Because guess what? No matter what your opinion is of MSC Cruise Lines, this would have been the exact same outcome no matter what cruise line you went on. Now, experienced cruisers know that sometimes stuff breaks on cruise ships. It just does. And yeah, you could want to do something really bad on a cruise ship and find out that that particular experience may not be working during your cruise. And sure, I get you're disappointed. But sometimes you just got to roll with it, I think. I was on the Disney Wish in August. When we boarded the ship, we were told the Aquamouth slide will be closed for the entire trip. We booked this ship for that specific ride. This is not what we paid for. I want compensation for this. So for those that have never sailed Disney, maybe not know about Disney, the Aquamouth is the water slide on board the ship. and it was down for maintenance. In fact, it was down the whole cruise, probably means it needed a part. But I laugh because, of course, there's always that one passenger that says, but I paid for this, I didn't get this. Give me compensation. Well, in case anybody was wondering, Disney very nicely said, hey, stuff happens. And no, you will not be getting any compensation for the water slide being down. Like I said, I get disappointment. I get that it sucks, but it's part of cruising. So that is some complaints across the cruising spectrum, just to show that it's not just one cruise line that gets complaints. It is all of them. But these are lessons that we talk about all of the time. Have your proper travel documentation on your persons and correct travel documentation when you arrive at the cruise port. Don't fly into the cruise port the day of, because you never know when something's going to happen and you might possibly miss your ship. And if it does happen, purchase travel insurance. And yes, we say those things over and over again, year after year. But here we go. These are complaints from this year. And if nothing else, hopefully, somebody sees this. Somebody says, ooh, I'm going to learn from this knowledge. I'm going to learn from this information. And they don't end up being a comment on this show somewhere down in the future. Because if you write something like this in and I find it, I'm going to share it. And that's going to be our video this week for what every cruiser wants. If you've enjoyed today's video, do me a favor and hit that like button. If you haven't done so yet, do me a favor and hit subscribe. It is free to do so. Helps our channel grow. Let you know anytime we put out a new video. Hope everyone out there is having a really great day and a really great weekend. And like always, we will see you out on the high seas.